Morning, Michael. I got three brothers, and our dad did many things for us, but the two most important things he did was he kept us in church as a family, and then secondly, buddy, he taught us how to work, and I mean work hard. He taught us skills, and those skills have carried all four of us way down the road in life.
Good morning, Michael. I wanted to talk about several dads in my life because my dad died when I was 13, and he was a pastor, and he was a wonderful dad. He did all sorts of things for us, and I could still remember the feel of his coat on my cheek when I would stand next to him when he would shake hands with people on the way out. He just was a great guy, and I just lost him way too soon. But I had four uncles that stepped in and, rode in my first truck to decide if it was going to be good, or brought me a tobacco leaf from his vacation because every girl should have tobacco in a pouch of tobacco in her truck and little stuff like that. They were always there to help me with everything. And my husband had been raised without a dad, and so they kind of took him under his wing as well. And so now when we became parents, we really decided the things that we missed most about our dad was things that we were going to pour into our son. And my husband, Larry, is the greatest dad. He's just an awesome dad and an awesome grandpa. And now I watch my son. He's a fifth grade teacher, and he's a dad to three daughters. And I just see that, sometimes even when you start with hard times, you can learn to be a good dad if you want to be a good dad.
Good morning, Michael. I lost my father in 1976 when I was 10 years old. When I was 9, I walked down to Gerland's with my oldest sister. She went to buy a few things. I didn't have any money. I decided I needed a Milky Way bar. I got caught. They sent my sister on her way. I had to sit in the manager's office while I called my father from work. He came pick me up. They made me apologize. Took a very short ride back to the house. Nothing was said. I'm ready for my boat whooping when we get to the house. We walk in the living room. My father turned to me and said, Michael, I'm very disappointed at you. He kissed my mom. He turned around and went back to work. That killed me. I disappointed my dad. I wanted that butt whooping so bad, and it sticks to me to this day that I disappointed my father.
Today is the feast of St. Anthony, and my dad was Antonio. He was born in Italy, and then always looking to do better. He went to Cuba, met my mom. We left to Mexico City till we could come into the States, Puerto Rico, New Jersey, and then the Valley. And he always was looking for a better opportunity. He was a jeweler. He manufactured jewelry on 47th Street before we moved to Texas. And we never needed anything, but we had everything that, he gave us everything. And a beautiful life, a charmed life. And we lost him 4 years ago. And the biggest gift that I ever got was he was there when I was born, which was very unusual in 1963, but my grandfather was an OB-GYN and he delivered me. And my dad was there, and then I was there laying next to him, holding his hand when he died. So God gave me the gift of being with him when he passed, and he was the best.
I feel like one of the luckiest people alive. My father, who is 88, and my mother, who's 85, are both still with us and doing very well. My father provided everything, like your dad was a plant worker. He's been retired as long as he worked now, and he's probably listening to this. And I just wanted to wish him a happy Father's Day In addition, their wedding anniversary is tomorrow, and it will be 67 years.
Me and my dad, we would just sit out on the tree, and my dad would just talk. We would just talk for maybe hours at a time. And I regret, back then, it wasn't in recording it. I regret not recording those conversations so I could play it with the grandchildren and the grandchildren today of, Granny sitting out talking to her dad. And my dad lived to be 100 years old. But I can remember, we talk about that today. My daddy, if my dad would send us to the store to get something, when we came back, if it was a penny due him, my dad wanted his penny. And it was vice versa. It was the same thing. If Dad went to get something and you had a penny, my dad was going to give you your penny. And we could not understand what is so significant about a penny. But he was teaching us honesty. Mm-hmm. And that stayed with me.
Hello, Michael. I'd like to wish my father a happy Father's Day. Growing up, he gave me a lot of chances to make a lot of mistakes. We do projects, and we get to the very end, and he goes, well, do you want me to tell you where you screwed up, or do you want to figure it out? And it's that kind of coaching and mentorship that he gave me that allowed me to have the confidence to start my own business.
My dad, Noble McVeigh, was a master sergeant. He won 3 Bronze Stars. He was in World War II and Korea and Vietnam. He was an amazing dad. I loved him with all my heart. And one time he went out on maneuvers, and, of course, the day after he left, my brother and I got into trouble. And Mom always said, wait till your father gets home. So 6 weeks later, Daddy gets back, and I've been living in stark fear for 6 weeks. And, of course, it's time to stand before the judge. I tell him what I did wrong. He looks at me and he said, okay, go outside and play. And I looked at him and I said, what? He said, go outside and play. I said, I'm not in trouble? He said, there's nothing I can do to you that you haven't done to yourself for the last 6 weeks. Go outside and play. And I said, you mean I did all that for nothing? And he just laughed.